general. We were told by critics that we couldn't get people to show up by 9 a.m., so I think our distinguished panel of speakers proved those critics wrong. My name is Mike Sorelli. I'm the founder of VETTED. VETTED is a veteran initiative born here in Texas, which exists to transform our nation's proven military leaders into tomorrow's industry leaders and entrepreneurs. Now, this initiative has been spearheaded by our flagship university leaders, Admiral Craven and Chancellor Sharp, and our first program line, the Veteran Accelerated Management Program, was developed by both the Texas A&M Mays Business School and University of Texas McCombs Business School in conjunction with Wharton. Watching the Aggies and Longhorns come together in the name of our nation's veterans to develop what is the most innovative and comprehensive veteran transition platform on the market to date has been both inspiring and humbling. Now, frankly, VETTED would not exist without the leadership or support of each of today's speakers, to include our first corporate partner, AT&T. I briefed our first speaker on VETTED exactly 1 year ago. Commissioner Bush listened to our pitch, and after about an hour of diligent reviewing of our materials, he looked at us and said, "Guys, I haven't seen anything on the market like this today for veterans. I think you have something here." And let me tell you, when Commissioner Bush looks at your team, a team of brand new fledgling entrepreneurs, as I say, and says you have something, it's like instant affirmation and about 5 months of motivation as you hit the hard times. So for that, sir, I do thank you. As Texas Land Commissioner, he works to ensure that Texas veterans get the benefits they earn, oversees investments that earn billions of dollars for our public education, and manages state plans to produce oil and gas that is successfully pushing America towards energy independence. Commissioner Bush has dedicated his life to public service, working both as a public school teacher in Miami after graduating from Rice University and serving in Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan as an officer in the U.S. Naval Reserve. He is truly a man of service, and I know ensuring the well-being of our veterans is dear to his heart. With that, I'd like to introduce Texas Land Commissioner George P. Bush.
Thank you, Michael, for your inspired leadership. I'm honored to join you on the stage and be a part of this process in a small way. I'm honored to be on stage today with some of our elected leadership, our educational leadership here in the great state of Texas, to highlight really, I think, an innovative program to help address one of the biggest issues that we're seeing in Texas, and that's within our military veteran community. As Michael had mentioned, our office is tasked with the important mission of helping to take care of our 1.7 million veterans that reside in the great state of Texas, of our 26 million people. We're a patriotic state. We have a lot of vets, but we have huge challenges. High rate of suicide, in excess of 20 a day, as confirmed by a recent VA report. High rate of unemployment, high rate of substance abuse. And so our agency is a player in helping to work with our legislature to make sure that we're administering veterans courts, but most importantly, helping military veterans transition to civilian life as the rest of us get to enjoy it. And we think that if we can tackle this problem of not only getting military veterans hired, but into positions of leadership, we can take on what I view to be one of the biggest challenges in our state. So I, for one, I'm proud to join the stage. I want to thank AT&T not only for their financial support of the program, but for their commitment to continuing to hire military veterans, put them in positions of leadership. We hope more Fortune 500 companies and other businesses in our state will continue that leadership. I want to thank everyone else on the stage as well, and also want to recognize Admiral Inman, who joins us as well. Thanks to him, I was able to get my commission in the U.S. Navy. And also get to know some folks in there. But I thank everybody, and God bless our great country. Thank you.
So our next speaker is a dear friend who's actually the first person to welcome me back to Texas after more than a decade of military service. State Representative Pat Fallon serves the people of Denton County as the elected legislator of House District 106. Pat is a graduate of the University of Notre Dame, where he played college football under the legendary coach Lou Holtz, and was a member of the 1988 National Championship team, and actually probably has the best Lou Holtz impersonation this side of Mississippi. Upon graduation, Pat served as an active duty Air Force officer and was honorably discharged from the military of County. Pat then embarked on an entrepreneurial journey and started several companies, one of which he is now the president and CEO of VETTED Apparel. In January of 2015, Pat was sworn in for his second term as state representative of House District 106. Pat has earned a number of awards and designations, including an A+ rating from Texans for Fiscal Responsibility, a perfect voting score from Conservative Women of America, and the title Courageous Conservative from both the Texas Eagle Forum and Texas Conservative Coalition. Pat is also a member of the Texas Veteran Caucus. And as a member of the Veteran Caucus, Pat has been a staunch supporter of veteran rights in the state of Texas. Pat, the floor is yours.
I think about it's dishonorably discharged. They made my election to the legislature a little easier. But folks, thanks. Listen, Texas puts a premium on our veterans, and it's great that we're here to honor and recognize them with this program. I looked it up, and Texas has 31 military installations, 15 active duty, 16 reserve. And as Commissioner Bush said, 1.7 million veterans in the state of Texas. That's more than 12 states have total residents. So we're in a very unique spot. I am the vice chair of the Veterans Caucus for the entire legislature. The House and Senate come together to do that. And we've gotten a lot of legislation passed in the 3 terms that I've been here. I just wanted to give you examples of one in each session. In the 83rd session, SB 1476 passed, which created the Veterans Entrepreneurial Program. And then in the next session, the 84th, we had SB 1049, and that exempted any veterans-owned business from paying franchise taxes for the first 5 years of its existence, which is a pretty good deal. I think I should take advantage of that. And then in the 85th, we increased funding 40% to veterans assistance programs in local communities. We've done a lot of things that we're proud of. We can certainly do more, but even with our efforts and the efforts of the Texas Veterans Commission and the no budget, it still remains, we need to eliminate the systemic challenges that face our veterans. The federal and state government cannot do that alone, and that's why VETTED is such a perfect public-private partnership. And I wanted to thank the chancellors for coming, Chancellor Sharp and Chancellor McRaven. This is very difficult for someone like myself to acknowledge that Texas A&M and University of Texas are doing great things. It's acutely difficult for a university to graduate. But also, I want to really thank the Admiral for coming, Lynn McCall, and the chancellors, and AT&T for what they've done. And I'm excited. Mike Sorelli is not only a quality individual and a great friend, but he's a spectacular American. And the things that Mike has done really for 2 decades. Now, I'm not talking months and years, but decades for this country. And the sacrifices that he's made keeps all of us safe. And you're not free unless you're safe. And he's done that. So it was an honor for him to give you a call and say, hey, will you come to Austin? I hate Austin. I don't know. The city's motto is keep Austin weird. They've succeeded wildly. But thank you, Michael, for coming. And we're going to do everything we can. I think I do speak for all 181 members of the Texas legislature by saying we're behind this initiative 100%. I'm so proud that our flagship universities are back with that.
Let me clarify that. Pat was honorably discharged. I've been at the end of that for about another decade. I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, who's Vice Chairman of VETTED, as well as Adam Linden, who's the Chair of the VETTED Board of Directors. Linda Mason McCall is the daughter of Peggy and Lowry Mays. She's married to Congressman Michael McCall, who's now serving his 6th term in the U.S. Congress, representing the 10th District of Texas. They have 5 children: Caroline, Jewel, Lauren, Avery, and Michael. Linda is extremely active in our community. In fact, I'm still trying to figure out where she finds the time to do all of it. Linda is on the board of MD Anderson Cancer Center, where she chairs the advisory committee for the Children's Cancer Hospital. She also serves on the board of Austin Greater Crime Commission and the Texas Department of Public Safety Foundation. She's a graduate of the University of Miami and our very own Texas A&M University. She worked for the Naval Intelligence Department tracking Soviet submarines when she met Michael in Washington, D.C. so long ago. She also worked for the Central Intelligence Agency and helped the Army obtain permission to destroy the chemical weapons stockpile in the U.S. Yeah.
My first exposure to the armed services, can you hear me? Necessary, was through naval intelligence. And the good admiral who preceded me, his legend, was there live and well at Naval Intelligence. So my career as a civilian for Naval Intelligence taught me the respect of the armed services. And when the Admiral approached me and Mike about joining forces for this board, Admiral and I said, of course, because the veterans need advocates. And there are so many leaders that come out of our armed forces. And transitioning from one life into the next, that's where we can help them. We can help them attain their goals to be productive members of society, but they needed some help. And I am so proud to be on this board. I'm so proud to serve with Admiral Edmund. And these chancellors, Admiral McRaven, Chancellor Sharp, thank you so much for combining forces of these two great institutions. And I am just pleased with the business rules and both of them wanting to give their space and their talented teachers and their time in order to support our program. The Mace Family Foundation will provide some sort of funding. We just haven't reached an agreement on the numbers. And so I'm proud to say as a member of that foundation that we will support this effort as well. And I just say thank you all for coming. Thank you for supporting our veterans because they need an advocate. And I think that's the bottom line is that they need an advocate. And thank you for starting all of this. You did a good job.
Our next speaker, Tracy Katie, is also a dear friend that we met about 7 months ago in a cafe.
We did.
When I briefed her on the veteran. She did pay, so I was extremely grateful. Tracy's an advocate of the veteran community. She's also the Vice President of Public Affairs for AT&T. She is the one that hand-carried the VETTED concept to AT&T, which has one of our nation's best veteran hiring initiatives. So Tracy has been an advocate, and she's really paved the way for VETTED and bringing on our first sponsor, AT&T. Tracy.
When you've got this lineup, how can you not be successful? That's kind of what AT&T thought. AT&T's been dedicated to veterans for almost as long as we've been around. In fact, we pledged to hire 20,000 veterans by the year 2020. But we're not just going to hire them. We're going to continue to educate them. We're going to continue to develop them. We're going to move them up the ranks of our leadership. And a little sidebar, we just won a contract from the federal government called FirstNet. FirstNet is creating the first network for first responders across the nation. Guess who's in charge of it? A Navy SEAL. Who better, right? That's what AT&T does with our veterans. So when Michael and I met, it became a no-brainer. You're creating a way for veterans to transition from active duty, where they've learned professionalism, they've learned dedication, they've learned teamwork, they've learned all those soft skills, right, Admiral? Those soft skills that actually matter in a corporate life. It's not just the degrees, it's being able to work with other folks and do it so collaboratively. They learn those skills, but they leave the military and somehow they can't find their jobs. Molly Potter, right here, is a perfect example. A perfect example. She had her undergraduate degree. She had her graduate degree. She worked in special forces for Admiral McRaven. She left the military, and guess what? She couldn't find a job. She couldn't find a job for so long, she actually lived out of her car for some months. No veteran should have to live out of their car. No veteran should struggle that much. So Molly, who's now gainfully employed at Dell, here in Austin, Texas, another good Texas-based company, has found that she almost becomes the poster child for what VETTED stands for, creating that transitional educational platform. And when you have John Sharp and you have Admiral McRaven, who are behind it in their institutions of higher education, when Aggies and Longhorns actually get together, America, you better stand aside. Because they're going to take the nation, and VETTED's going to go nationwide. It's not just going to be a Texas institution. It's too important. It's too vital. And AT&T is going to stand there and grow VETTED because we know anybody who graduated the VETTED program developed by A&M and UT, it's going to be somebody that we're going to want to hire. Thank you very much.
That's Honored to introduce the next few speakers who I consider personal mentors. I don't think anyone in this room would disagree that Texas is fortunate to have these two leaders at the helm of our flagship university systems. From VETTED and myself, I'd like to thank Chancellor Sharp and Admiral Craven for really clearing the barriers to make VETTED a reality. First up, Chancellor Sharp. As Chancellor of the Texas A&M University System, John Sharp has led one of the nation's largest university systems, including 11 universities and 7 state agencies. He served in this position since 2011. Chancellor Sharp has spent more than 3 decades in public service. He earned a bachelor's degree in political science from Texas A&M in 1972, where he was student body president and a member of the core staff of the Corps of Cadets. Upon graduation, he was commissioned as second lieutenant in the United States Army Reserve and was honorably discharged. In 1976, while working full-time with the legislative budget board in Austin, Sharp received a master's degree in public administration from Southwest Texas State University. In 1978, he was elected to the Texas House of Representatives and was named Outstanding Freshman by Texas Monthly. He won a seat in the Texas Senate in 1982, where he served on the powerful Senate Finance Committee and was elected to the Texas Railroad Commission in 1986. He was elected state comptroller in 1990 and re-elected in 1994. Chancellor Sharp has been married to Charlotte Hahn of Austin since 1978, and they have a son, Spencer, daughter-in-law, Bridget, and her daughter, Victoria. Chancellor Sharp.
I can assure you my comments will be shorter than the introduction. Well, first of all, we're proud to offer our support to the VETTED Foundation and VETTED Accelerated Management Program. This is what we consider a perfect fit for Texas A&M University and the Texas A&M system. Mike, Linda, my old friend Admiral Inman, thank you for this great idea and for bringing this to Texas and the veterans of Texas. But I'd be remiss if I didn't also thank Dean Eli Jones, who is Dean of the May School of Business, and Brandy Plunkett is here representing them. She'll be running the VETTED program for them as well. I'm also particularly pleased to be here with Chancellor McGrath, who I can assure you all Aggies believe and know that he is a true national hero in the country. So it's an honor to be here with him. I'd also like to point out that on more than one occasion I've had Aggies come to me and say, you know, that guy would be a great fit as Chancellor. And I said, do you know who you're talking about? As you know, military tradition runs very deep within Texas A&M University. We were created by the Morrill Act. Abraham Lincoln signed that, and one of the tenets of the Morrill Act, other than academics, agriculture and engineering, was teaching military tactics and preparing young men, and at the time young men, for military service. We have the largest uniformed student body in the nation. Only the military academies produce more uniformed officers. And I always like to point out that Patton said they were the best combat soldiers he'd ever seen in his career. We have about 50% of the people in the Corps get commissions in one of the branches of the service, and suffice it to say that we're very proud of the fact that Aggies fought in every single war in this nation's history, and our veteran service officers at each of our campuses work to help veterans transfer into civilian life. For several years, we've also had a military symposium. One of the things that we're really excited about since Admiral McGrath came on is University of Texas and Texas A&M University this fall are going to have the first joint military symposium headed by this guy right here at Texas A&M San Antonio, where we bring veterans in, link them with folks in the private sector, and we're real excited about the impetus that having the University of Texas be part of that is going to make to that particular symposium. So the VETTED Foundation is just another example of the great cooperation between our two universities in the state of Texas, and we can't tell you how proud we are that Mike and Linda and Admiral Inman and Commissioner Bush and others brought to us to allow us to provide this service for the veterans of this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chancellor Sharp. Next speaker, Chancellor McCraven, I've actually called boss a number of times. I served for him in the military. As the University of Texas System Chancellor, William McCraven is also a retired U.S. Navy 4-star Admiral, a Navy SEAL. He leads one of the nation's largest university systems, including 14 institutions that educates 221,000 students and employs 20,000 faculties, more than 80,000 healthcare professionals, researchers, and staff. Prior to becoming Chancellor, Admiral McCraven was commander of the U.S. Special Operations Command, during which time he led a force of 69,000 men and women and was responsible for conducting counterterrorism operations worldwide. Admiral McCraven is also recognized as a national authority on U.S. foreign policy and advises Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama and other U.S. leaders on defense issues. Chancellor McCraven's military legacy goes beyond strategy and warfare. As commander of SOCOM, he spearheaded the creation of the Preservation of Force and Family Initiative to ensure the mental, spiritual, and physical well-being of those who served, to include their families. His wife, Georgianne, has also dedicated much of her career to playing a leadership role with military families and our nation's wounded warriors. Admiral McCraven has been recognized for his leadership numerous times by both national and international publications and organizations. I could go through them all, but we have a work day ahead of us, and I don't want to keep people here. Admiral McCraven graduated from the University of Texas in 1977 with a degree in journalism and received his master's degree from the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey in 1991. He met his wife, Georgianne, while they were students at UT Austin, and they have 3 children. Admiral.
Thank you very much, Mike, and thank you, John Sharp. Partnership with A&M in my 2.5 years here as the Chancellor of UT has just been extraordinary, and I appreciate your friendship and your partnership. Let me begin by thanking Commissioner Bush for hosting this today, and of course to Lynn McCall and Admiral Bobby Enman for really being the point man and woman for our respective universities for this great program. And Mike Sorelli, and I think it was said well, Mike not only a great Longhorn, a great naval officer, but was partially alluded to, but should be recognized, a great Navy SEAL. Mike and I had the opportunity to spend a fair amount of time together overseas. No one I know more courageous, with higher character and integrity than Mike Sorelli. I think he really does epitomize what we think of when we think of veterans now in transition. So Mike, appreciate what you're doing for the VETTED program for veterans across the state of Texas and the nation. Last Friday I was actually at the Bush Institute, Stand 2, up in D.C. President and Mrs. Bush were there hosting the Stand 2, and the Stand 2 was really about veterans transition. It was how are we ensuring whether or not veterans are transitioning and understand what health care benefits are available to them, what's available to them in higher education, and what is available to them in employment as they transition. So this is a national conversation. And now as we look at what VETTED is doing here and how VETTED wants to establish this state model, now is the perfect time to be looking at how to do this. So there's a tremendous amount of momentum starting from the national level, and I think it's terrific that we're bringing this together here in the state of Texas. Within the University of Texas system, we have 10,000 veterans attending our institutions. In fact, one of the reasons I hired Major General retired Tony Kukalo was to help orchestrate the 14 institutions to make sure that we were providing the best resources we could to the veterans. And VETTED really fits nicely into everything we are trying to do. We need, within our veterans programs, this understanding of how does the veteran really transition to the executive level. And I think what VETTED is trying to do, certainly at Mays and McCombs, will help us do that. For our VETTED program, and I think it's the exact same thing at A&M. For us, 5 months of distance learning with Wharton School of Business, and then 2 months in residence. And of course, they learn things like business and finance and accounting and marketing, but also those kind of nuanced skills of how to be an executive. And again, as we look at how this is going to play out in McCombs, we'll certainly be prepared to take VETTED across the 14 institutions. Of course, McCombs will also be offering a special startup for the veterans interested in entrepreneurship. again, partnered with the VETTED program. I think one of the most important things we've got to understand as a public is we have to get over this stigma that somehow veterans are broken. And I commend the organizations that are out there. You see a lot of these advertisements on TV about veterans with PTS or veterans that have both external wounds and internal wounds. And all that is true, and all those charities are doing great work. But I'm afraid it sometimes leaves this impression that veterans aren't ready for the rigors of employment outside the military. And nothing, absolutely nothing, could be further from the truth. And it was talked about here earlier, but when you hire a vet, they understand the importance of the mission. They understand the value of hard work. They understand working as a team. They're disciplined, and they can act calm under pressure. These are the sort of things that employers want. And again, this is what I think we're certainly trying to do in the VETTED program. So within the University of Texas system, I will tell you we are very supportive, very appreciative of the work that is going on here. And we're also hoping to work with the Texas Veteran Commission to make sure that these courses that are part of the VETTED program, in fact, get certified. So once again, let me thank Commissioner Bush, Mrs. McCall, Harold Lindman, AT&T for their great support as well. And again, Mike, for the work you're doing for VETTED and for the veterans of the state of Texas. Thank you very much.
Before I conclude, I'd like to remind our Texas citizens in the private sector, our corporations within the great state of Texas, that we cannot solve this issue alone, that we need your support. Please go to vetted.org and get involved, whether it be as a mentor to veterans coming out of the military to assist them during the transition, or if it's financially to assist the foundation to educate these veterans. This concludes our press conference. I'd like to thank our distinguished speakers, our supporters. We have other VSOs in the room, veteran service organizations like Buckley Labs, and of course, Colonel Binford with the Texas Veteran Commission, who are partnering with us to solve this issue. Lastly, to the media and our general supporters, thank you for participating.